Ayo, keep it high, keep it tight. It's J-Morse the Review Guy, back to bring you another review. And in this one, we are going to be talking about XXXTentacion's album, Question Mark. Released March 16th, 2018 through Bad Vibes Forever, Question Mark is the follow-up to his kind of critically acclaimed but equally controversial album that he released in 2017 entitled 17. That album was met with a lot of criticism, but it really boosted him up, debuting very powerfully at number 2 on the Billboard 200 and instating him as one of the leaders of the emo hip-hop kind of lo-fi rap environment and putting him on that plateau, on that highest echelon of rappers such as Lil Peep, Lil Uzi Vert, and other Nothing Nowhere, a lot of other artists like him. So XXXTentacion is pretty well known in the community of not only rap, but hip-hop, emo rap, whatever you want to call it, lo-fi. And he started off in 2013 releasing a song and some songs to SoundCloud. He is a part of the phenomenon known as cloud rap, which are rappers that start very powerfully on SoundCloud and kind of boost their way up, make their own music, and it usually has a more hazy, kind of lower minimalistic production value, similar to what you would expect from other lo-fi type releases. And this genre, known as cloud rap and emo hip hop, also borrows different types of stylistic ticks from kind of heavier genres, and usually it has a much more bassy feel, and the bass is a lot more pronounced. It's usually a lot more loud and aggressive, and XXXTentacion is known for having these just bass-driven songs that are super loud, super aggressive, with him rapping over them. I'm getting flashbacks to Look at Me, which is one of his most popular songs, and I have to commend something right off the bat, and that's the fact that this album takes the formula that he had from the album 17 and prior and brings it into a new light with a lot more R&B-esque type of singing tracks. Now, I'm not saying that X is going into some sort of Drake or Nelly type of territory, but he's definitely dialing it back on a lot of these songs that I feel would be much less well received if they were rap songs. And the first song that comes to my mind is one of the two singles that were released, Changes. And the other single off the album, Sad. Both of those songs are great examples going into this album about how he has matured, how he has grown as an artist. And I have to kind of address something right off the bat, is that XXXTentacion has a lot of difficult times with criminal charges, with a lot of real life difficulties. He had a rough upbringing. He was in and out of schools. He was a very rambunctious, angry type of child, and he is, I would say, cleaning up his act. He has not had anything wrong happen for a while, and he is definitely trying to devote more to his craft. And the thing that I think is wonderful about that is this album debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200, and it really goes to show that this whole cloud rap, lo-fi type of movement that has been formed on places like SoundCloud and prior is really kind of moving up into the mainstream. And Sad and Changes, if I remember correctly, don't quote me, I think they debuted at number 7 and 37 on the Billboard Hot 100 charts for music. And I have to say that out of all of the songs on the album, the two singles, Sad and Changes, are definitely the ones that stand out to me the most, especially Changes. It's very simplistic, and I swear, I'm a sucker for simplistic tones in music. You get this very simple piano instrumental in Changes, and this chorus and this kind of bridge slash verse that blend together, and they're great. On a similar note, I think that Sad has a lot of the same stylistic ticks that Changes has, where it just sounds beautiful. From start to finish, I was engrossed by this song. And I understand why it was chosen as one of the singles, because it really is deserving of that, because it shows that he is taking a style that was previously held captive by just one type of formula that was continuous, and he's taking it out and adding different layers to it. And I have to also praise the diversity on this album. It has great diversity from start to finish. You don't know what you're going to get from track to track, and there are really, really aggressive tracks, there are soft tracks, there are in-between tracks that kind of like sad, that have rapping and singing. And I don't know, there's something about this album that really gets me. And when I'm listening to it, it's 37 minutes. If I remember correctly, 17 was 21 minutes, so it definitely stepped up with length, and it has obviously more tracks. And I have to say that this album is, in my mind, much superior to 17, although I thoroughly enjoyed that album. There were some tracks on that album that I personally wasn't a big fan of, and after a couple listens, it could get a bit repetitive, not only with the tracks somewhat blending together, not only lyrically, but the sound-wise and the mixing-wise, the production-wise, and I would sometimes find myself skipping tracks or just not listening to the album for long spaces of time because it sounds repetitive, whereas Question Mark has so much diversity to where you can skip tracks and not have to worry about something sounding the same, because these tracks are diverse. I don't want to say fun, because they're sad songs in terms of being depressing, but that's his style, and there's something about it that is great. And these tracks, all of them pretty much stuck out. I could talk about every single track, but you guys aren't here to hear that. You're here to hear my overall consensus. And honestly, I think that this is a great album, and I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 for the only reason it's not a perfect score to me is because I still, after all of this, feel like he can get better at his craft. Because a song like Changes, he could have probably had more lyrics. He definitely has a ways to go, and he is so young that he has the time to be able to devote to his craft and excel and get better at what he is trying to do. And considering the fact that this is only his second studio album, he's released some mixtapes and stuff, but considering this is his second full-length studio album, there's no telling what he is going to be able to do, because he is an artist that I can definitely see only getting bigger and better with age, because he is good at singing, he's good at rapping, but there are certain times when I can understand the criticism that's given by other people, because he does have some parts that maybe do sound a bit wonky, but he's still super popular, and he's still super popular for a reason, and that's because he is changing it up, he's changing up the formula, and I think that that is great. I think that what he does is great, and overall I'd love to hear what you guys think of the album, because I could go on and on about this album and how great I believe it is. But like I said, you guys are here to hear my consensus, not a 50-minute review of each track. But anyways, guys, it's been J-Morse Review Guy, and I'm signing off saying farewell.
Oh no, what your mama gonna say when I tell her that I broke no heart? It's just things not the way that they used to be.